This Australian man is the real King of Britain.
This whole Tudor dynasty is built on a lie. It means that you are the rightful King of England. How do you feel about that?
Bloody awful, isn't it? I don't.
Was Queen Elizabeth not the rightful heir? Did the real king know about his title? And will he claim the throne? If you think that this is the royal family, think again. Allegedly, the real royals live in Australia. New evidence shows that back in the Middle Ages, Edward IV, the King of England, was illegitimate. And if that's so, every king and queen since then also had no rights to the throne. But if not them, then who has the right? It turns out it's a simple family from Gerilda.
According to my calculations, this should be King Michael I, and his family include Simon the alternative Prince of Wales, Marcus, Lisa, Princes Jet, Zach, Caleb and Riley, not forgetting little Princess Isabella.
Tony Robinson flew to Australia to tell them.
We now believe that Edward IV was himself illegitimate, which means that Elizabeth was illegitimate. So this whole Tudor dynasty is built on a lie.
During his life, Mike Hastings was a forklift driver, a door-to-door encyclopedia salesman, and an agronomist. He did not know he was an aristocrat, but he never thought he could be a king.
I came over here in 1960. At that stage, I was Lord Morclin because my mother was still alive.
Yeah.
She had the title. Then last October, she died, and I inherited her title. And then my oldest son inherited mine.
He had a family tree of his own to check, and Tony's research matched it completely.
So if you're an English lord, what are you doing over here?
I love it over here. I came over here when I was 17, 1960, and I just love it over here. I married here, I have 5 children, 5 grandchildren, and a wonderful life.
Many men would be thrilled to become a king. But Mike was far from happy.
You are the rightful King of England. How do you feel about that?
Bloody awful, isn't it? I don't.
For him, being a royal is more of a curse than a blessing. Being a royal would be a terrible way to live. They can't even pick their noses without someone writing about them.
If the Queen abdicated, if she said, I've had enough of it, would you go back?
Probably not. Probably not.
Hearing such news surprised and amused him.
Bit of a shock, isn't it? Bit of a shock.
But while Mike quickly accepted the information, convincing his daughters was a little harder. Tony was prepared and asked them for a DNA test. He took a little bit of hair from each member of the family.
That's royal hair, that is.
What Tony didn't know, though, is that you can't just take any hair for a DNA test. So they had a good laugh about it. Time passed and Mike thought about his possible future. The more I watch the documentary, the more I'm convinced that they're right, and I probably should be the King of England. But he loves his life in Australia more. I've no intention of chasing over there and laying claim to palaces and crown jewels. However, he jokes about his money they have. I might send Lizzie a bill for back rent. The old girl's family have been living in my bloody castle for the last 500 years. Spending more time with Mike made Tony realise that the title doesn't matter that much.
Meeting Michael, I really liked the sheer normality of his life. I began seriously to think about not only what he'd lost, but also what he'd gained by not being King of Britain.
Unfortunately, Mike passed away at 71. he lived a happy life being just Mike, not His Majesty. His eldest son has now become the 15th Earl of Loudon, but he won't pursue the throne either. It does make you think about how things could be different. I am quite happy with how things have turned out. I've made my own life. The rest of the family don't need the titles either. They all prefer their happy, quiet lives. Do you believe Mike was the real king? Would you claim a title if you found out you were royalty?